November 1st, 2004, I married Howard Gene Baskin, and I have two entries for this day. So the first one here is apparently the proposed wedding vows, and you'll see how they're a little different from the actual wedding vows, so I'll read both entries. I met Howie on November 1st, 2002, and we were engaged on the beach of Anna Marie Island on November 1st of 2003. And married on that same beach November 1st of 2004. Howie's friend got his notary license, his friend's name was Phil, in order to perform the wedding. Jamie's boyfriend, Daniel Capiro, played the guitar and Jamie gave me away. As you can tell from the photos, it wasn't your typical wedding. Howie insisted that we precede him to the beach. In the distance, I saw a caveman coming our way, and from that very distinctive walk, I said, I think that's Howie. He wanted to do something memorable, and he really succeeded. He says it's a testament to my good nature that I wasn't mad that he'd do something so silly. I love him all the more for it. He did put a coat over his caveman dress for the actual ceremony. He wanted us to write up vows that would be like a constitution for how we would deal with each other. These were mine to him. These were my proposed wedding vows. I promise to always treat you with love and respect. I promise to yield to your desires to the extent that I can without sacrificing my faith or the well-being of the cats in my charge. I promise to be loyal and faithful to you. I promise to take care of my body for your pleasure. I promise to cherish and care for you long after you have forgotten my name. I promise to always yield to your will, as long as it does not conflict with mine. I promise to eliminate the possibility of death by poisoning by not surprising you with a home-cooked meal. I promise to never discharge a weapon in your direction unless you are being strangled by an anaconda. I promise to leave all of my cats to you when I die. I promise that if the exotic cat issues are cured within our lifetime, that I won't start bringing home stray dogs, elephants, or homeless World War II vets. I promise to never join a nude PETA protest without adequately cloaking my identity. I promise to always refer to you as my last husband and not my latest husband. You can introduce me as Her Majesty. I promise that you will never have to deal with more than one of my personalities at a time. Whoa, who said that? You can't go making promises like that without a vote. Some of us shouldn't be allowed to vote. Hey, I resemble that remark. We'll have to get back to you on this one. And then this was on the same day and was actually our wedding vows. And it was a report, I think I had written it to the people from Big Cat Rescue, because it starts out saying Big Cat Wedding. Big Cat Rescue founder Carole Lewis weds advisory board chairman Howard Baskin on November 1st, 2004. On November 1st, 2002, Howie and Carole met at the kickoff party for a new concept that Mary Hessler Key was introducing to the Tampa Bay called No More Homeless Pets. The coalition was being formed to end euthanasia of healthy dogs and cats in shelters by implementing an aggressive spay and neuter program. Big Cat Rescue is one of the founding members of No More Homeless Pets of Hillsborough County. At that party, Howie won Carole's adoration immediately because he had actually visited wildlife on Easy Street and knew who we were when it seemed that no one else in the area ever had heard of us. And I frequently tell people when we tell our origin story that I would have married him right then on the spot. By the following year, Howie had joined Big Cat Rescue, formerly Wildlife on Easy Street, as the chairman of the advisory board. He has worked with Carole full-time to build awareness of Big Cat Rescue and its mission and build a sound financial base from which to continue our work. On November 1st, 2003, Howie proposed to Carole on Anna Marie Island at sunset, and Carole was so overwhelmed that all she could do was write yes in the sand. You know how she cries all the time. This was her dream come true and the man she had waited a lifetime to meet. The Furball was such a major production that they couldn't bear the thought of immediately afterward having to organize the huge wedding that would have been required to include Howie's many friends and Carole's large extended family. They opted instead to have a private ceremony on the same beach where they had gotten engaged. So, on November 1st, 2004, at sunset, Howie and Carole were wed by Phil Balducci, the friend of Howie's who had arranged for their fateful stay on the island in November of 2003. Jamie Veronica took photos, Daniel Capiro took video, and serenaded the happy couple with a song and his guitar. Wonder where that video ended up. Oh, I forgot there even was video. As you can tell from the photos, this wasn't your usual wedding, but Howie and Carole aren't your typical couple either. One glance at the wedding vows online and you get a sense of their commitment to each other and their sense of humor. They just returned from their honeymoon in the Virgin Islands, so more photos will be posted later. But for now, you can see that the theme was one of Caveman takes bride before the ceremony, and bride puts Caveman on a short leash immediately thereafter. The wedding vows. Carole and Howie, you have come to this beautiful beach where you became engaged 1 year ago to proclaim your desire to spend eternity together. In doing so, you have created the following vows or promises that you want to make to each other as the foundation of this life partnership you create today. You view these promises as kind of a personal constitution. By this, you mean that as time goes by, circumstances change, and you face new challenges, you will refer back to these vows as principles that will guide your behavior. There are some actions that are totally within your control and can be promised absolutely. There are others that are not totally within your control. You recognize that human frailty is such that despite your best intentions, you are not perfect and may not always be able to live up to even your own expectations. With respect to these commitments, your promise today is to do the best you can to honor them and, at a minimum, never intentionally or willfully dishonor them. That being said, there is only one absolute promise you make to each other today, and for each of you, it is the most important. That promise is to always be truthful with each other. You believe that preserving that trust and having it grow with time and never be damaged is the foundation of your relationship. No matter what the future brings, you can deal with it together with respect for each other if you preserve that trust. The following are things you mutually promise to each other you will do to the best of your ability. You will do your best to treat each other in a way that, if through the will of God it turns out to be the last day that you have together, you will not regret anything you did or said that day. You will take to heart Stephen Covey's admonition that love is a verb, a conscious decision about how you will treat the person you love. If you experience a negative emotion as a result of the behavior of the other, such as frustration, irritation, or anger, you will do your best to neither lash out hurtfully nor, at the other extreme, allow silence to let these feelings become a festering sore that grows over time. Instead, recognizing that each of you seeks to make the other as happy as you can, you will treat these feelings as impediments to your mutual happiness that you should work on together. You will do this by sharing your feelings in as caring a way as you can, listening in the same caring way, and then working together on a solution, whether it involves efforts to change behavior, compromises, or simply understandings that will help remove the negative emotion associated with the behavior. When moods, frustrations, and stresses from the outside world are pressing on you, you will remind yourself that in the face of this adversity, the one anchor you have is the love of your partner, and you will do your best to avoid taking out your frustrations or moods on her or him. You will actively seek ways to keep your relationship and your partner's life fresh and interesting, but not so interesting that you drive Howie nuts. You will try to be a rock-like base from which your partner experiences life. In times of joy, this is a rock from which they will be able to leap even higher because there is someone with whom to share the moment. In times of adversity, This rock will offer a base of unwavering support to lessen the burden of the challenges you face. You will take a moment to just hold hands at least once each day and remind yourselves how lucky you are to have found each other. If at times you find you have not lived up to these commitments as well as you had hoped, instead of being defensive, you will do your best to acknowledge the variance from the vows and then forgive fully. In addition to these mutual promises, you make the following individual promises. Howie, you promise to close drawers and cabinet doors after removing items, and particularly the closet door, to keep your old cat Crystal from peeing on Carole's clothes. You also promise to fold up your recliner blanket after you use it rather than leaving it strewn all over the living room. Carole, you promise to turn on the light when you wash dishes so they have some remote chance of being clean when Howie goes to use them. You also promise to not turn into the Wicked Witch of the West. With these promises in mind, do you, Howie, take Carole to be your partner for eternity? Howie answered, of course. And, well, he didn't answer, of course. Of course, Howie answered him. And Carole, do you take Howie to be your partner for eternity? And I answered that I do. Howie, please give Carole the ring that symbolizes your eternal bond, saying, with this ring, I thee wed. Howie places the ring on Carole's finger, saying, with this ring, I thee wed. Carole, please give Howie the ring that symbolizes your eternal bond, saying, with this ring, I thee wed. Of course, I did that too. I now pronounce you partners for eternity. You may now kiss each other to seal the union. And then we played Rod Stewart singing Have I Told You Lately That I Love You as we opened the champagne.